People confuse game with manipulation, but the truth, game is simply play. It's creating a world where only the two of you exist, and that's what makes seduction powerful.
We're going live, baby.
We'll do it live.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host,
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer. He is a certified master life coach and NLP practitioner.
It's true. It's damn true. Happy hump day, guys. This should be a fun one today, especially for you guys out there on the dating circuit. We're keeping game really simple today, okay? We are making it playful. We're having fun. We're going to have some fun today. Why do you think it's called game? Why do you think it's called game? Because playing games is supposed to be fun. I see it all the time. These negative guys out there, they're like, I'm tired of the games, bro. I'm not playing games. It's like, lighten up. Lighten up. This is probably why you're not having that great success with women, is because you're taking things too seriously. All right. Games are supposed to be fun. So let's have some fun, dagnammit. By the way, drop a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me okay. I just want to make sure that my audio's doing all right before we get too far into this. We're going to get right into it, but real quick, if you are new to the channel, my name is Paul Bauer. I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. So what is game, really? We are told in this space, shout out to John MLD from Modern Life Dating, that we need to be working on our money, muscles, game, and frame, right? The core 4. So what is game? Really? Well, many people, they misunderstand game to be a suite of gimmicky tactics or Machiavellian manipulation, methods, right? And I mean, sure, there are lots of pickup tactics out there, but when you memorize canned openers and routines, you're really just becoming a geek with techniques. Okay. And one of the biggest problems with the pickup artists, if you've ever read the book, The Game by Neil Strauss, this is one of my biggest takeaways from that book, because a lot of people love that book because of all the cool pickup artistry stuff in it. But if you read between the lines of what Neil Strauss was really writing, there's some real key elements that you take from that book, right? They used canned tricks and tactics, like they had these magic routines that they would do. And Ryan Stone talks about a very common pickup tactic that he used to use. If you ever read his first book, which we can't say at the until the 8-minute mark, F-Files, Fudge Files, whatever. Anyway, he talks about this thing called the cube, right? This whole pickup artistry thing called the cube, which a lot of it's very much like cold reading. It's almost like it's an NLP tool to build rapport very quickly. Okay. Well, so there's lots of that kind of stuff out there, but if you've ever read the book, The Game, they use those canned tricks and tactics. And when they started having boot camps and teaching lots of guys in certain areas, everyone in town was using them. Like every dude in town was using the same stuff, and women started getting wise to it. In fact, at the end of the book, I'm not trying to give away any spoilers, but Neil Strauss went to go use a pickup technique that he'd been using for a long time at this point. And the chick's like, oh, I already heard that one tonight. And he's like, what are you talking about? She's like, oh yeah, those guys over there did that to me. Right? Like, when guys start doing the same stupid pickup artistry tricks, it gets around and women start seeing this stuff. Okay. And when women are able to spot the game, now they're no longer in the game, and now they're turned off. Okay. Women want to play the game. They don't want to know they're playing the game. Right. On top of that, the pickup artists, they were targeting specific women that would be more susceptible to what they were doing. Right. So party girls, girls that were dressed provocatively, girls with big hoop earrings. You know what I'm talking about? and in modern day, it'd be girls with septum piercings, right? But the thing is, those chicks would have slept with those guys anyway because they were slooty sleuths. Okay, they were looking for easy targets. They weren't going up to some Christian good girl and on the street and running these routines. They were going to clubs looking for sleuths. Okay, so that's another thing. But another thing is they would get hooked on some of these girls that they were seeing. And because they weren't being authentic, because they were using tricks and tactics and canned routines, they weren't being who they really were. And so, they couldn't keep these chicks around, right? But that's what we're going to talk about today. We're talking about being authentic and real so that this is who you are all the time. You don't need tricks and techniques and canned openers. You feel me, dog? You feel me, dog? So how do we do that? Well, one, I've already alluded to this already. Don't be so serious. Well, you think of the Joker from Batman, right? Like from the Christian Bale Batman, right? Why so serious? Right? You don't want to be so serious when you're talking to women. And this is a part of the reason why I put out the content that I do on social media that sort of takes jabs at women. And we sort of, it's very, very misogynistic type stuff, is because I'm trying to get you in the mindset of not taking women so damn seriously. Because if you don't take them so seriously, you can actually have some fun with them. Okay. They're fun. So think of, humor, teasing, lightheartedness, all that kind of stuff. It really signals confidence to women. Okay. And women respond more to playfulness than logical persuasion. Okay. They want to feel something. Women are very feelings based. They're feeling creatures. Okay. So you being serious all the time, being like a robot, it's not fun. And girls just want to have fun, right? So you got to be that guy that can provide this world that's fun for them to be in, right? You also want to have outcome independence. And this is super hard for guys. This is hard for anybody in life. If you I'm not a Buddhist, right? But Buddha taught us that the key to all human suffering is attachment. But that attachment is an attachment to a particular outcome most of the time. So a lot of you guys will develop this thing that Christopher Canwell in Atomic Attraction refers to as chronesthesia. Okay, but in NLP, because I'm an NLP practitioner, we call it future pacing. Okay, and this is where you mentally time travel into the future and you picture your future self with this girl, and you're living in the the fancy house on the prairie with a white picket fence, and you have 2.5 kids, and you develop this story about how you guys are all skipping on the beach and whatever. Most of you guys haven't even met these chicks yet in person. It's just a chick that you're chatting with on dating apps, and you have this mental projection of what you're hoping things turn out to be, right? Excuse me. Well, you develop this outcome attachment. And so when you go to the date, because you're so outcome focused, you tend to push these women away because you start acting very needy and clingy before you even really get a chance to know this girl, right? So you need to let go of that attachment to outcome when you're talking with these girls. Like, what happens. What happened, if it doesn't work out, great. There's another woman every 15 minutes, right? You need to have that mentality when it comes to women because if you're so attached to making things work with this girl, you're going to come across as needy, uptight, and you want to have more of a relaxed, confident vibe. Okay. So if you let go of any attachment, you actually do come across more relaxed because you don't care what happens. Right. So that's really hard for guys to let go of, but that's where you need to get to. Okay. And it's just going to take a lot of practice to get there. But that lightness reads as fun and attractive to women. And so that's a part of being more playful. It's hard to be playful when you're needy and validation seeking and you're really pushing for something to happen. But if you're relaxed and lighthearted, you can say whatever you want. You don't care. Okay. But the funny thing is that women actually like guys that say what they want without regard to worrying about her feelings, because you're being authentic, and women really do like guys to be authentic. Okay. Now I'll say this. some of the advice out there is just be yourself, bro. I will say this. If your authentic self right now is pushing women away, something's got to change, bro. Something's got to change. Okay. You need to reevaluate how you're coming across to people. If your authentic self is pushing people away. Okay. Because your authentic self sucks at that point, and you need to improve somewhere. All right. But if you are putting on a routine to try to get these women, that's going to come across as inauthentic too. Okay. So there's a happy balance there of learning how to take some of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about today and make it a part of who you truly are. Okay. All right, guys, before we get too far into this, do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday without fail. So if you are enjoying this content and you want more of it, you can expect that every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications so you don't miss a single episode. Okay. Another thing that guys can do as a part of this thing of being more playful, in having better authentic game is maintaining a little more mystery. Okay. A lot of you guys are going out there, you're open books, you're putting everything out there on the table right away. And I'm not saying like go out and lie to women. I'm just saying don't give her everything away right away. Okay. Women want to feel like they're living in a love story, right? And they want to discover you as you go along. And if you're just like word vomiting and telling her all about your life and all your struggles and all this kind of stuff, you're giving yourself away too quickly. And then women get bored really quickly and lose interest, right? So the quickest way to lose women's interest is telling them everything about yourself, because they want to figure this stuff out on your own. All right. So you want to maintain mystery. You don't want to overshare. You want to be vague, right? Like one thing I love to do on a date is, practice the 80-20 rule, right? Let them do 80% of the talking. You only do 20% of the talking. Really, you just want to get the ball rolling, get her talking, and then ask clarifying questions or make assumptions here and there and playfully tease some of the things that she's talking about. But you really want to not say too much about yourself. And one of the things that I would do when I was dating to try to prevent this is if I had the urge to say something, I would say, she doesn't care, bro. She doesn't care. And then I would just ask more about herself. And the thing is that women love talking and their favorite subject is themselves. So all you have to do is get the ball rolling and she will do the heavy lifting for you. A lot of guys are like, I don't know what to say on a date. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to say much at all. Let her do 80% of the talking. You just need to ask clarifying questions, take a genuine interest in what she's saying, and really try to understand where she's coming from and really take a genuine interest and find whatever she says fascinating. Okay. And that's really hard for guys to do, because guys are like, I don't really care. I don't care what she's saying. She's talking womanese and I don't even know. Just trust me here. Okay. The more she talks about, the less you say, the more she feels like you're a great communicator, right? This is women's solipsism. Go back to Monday's episode. The more she's able to talk and explain herself, the more she feels like you're an excellent communicator, the better the listener you are. The less you've said, the more a mystery you are. And it's been scientifically proven that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. Okay. So the less you say, the better, because she's getting more attracted, the more she has to figure you out. Okay. Another way that you can be more fun and have and be playful around women is flirting through teasing. Okay. So light teasing, like you don't want to be mean-spirited. You're not really trying to dig at her. You're not trying to put her down. It's playful teasing. Women love it. Think about how you would treat a bratty little sister. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. It's playful teasing. Like you like this girl. So the things that you're saying aren't really that mean, but at the same time, you're still poking fun at her. Okay. All that kind of stuff is a way of flirting. Okay. Women love this. They love being teased by guys, especially guys that they find attractive, but it creates this separate reality where only the two of you share this joke. Okay. That's really the magic of playfully teasing girls. You're creating this reality of it's just the two of you in this world. Okay. And it's not, obviously, that's your logical man brain thinking, but to her, in her feelings-based world, she wants to feel like you're the only two people in this world. Okay. You're creating a feeling. It's an illusion, but it's a feeling, and she loves it. Okay. So this is a part of seduction. Okay. This builds intimacy and fun. Okay. Intimacy and fun. I want you to really think about this. Intimacy and fun. You also want to use a lot of humor. Okay. Playful humor. Have you ever heard that like chicks love guys with a sense of humor? There's a reason behind that, because humor really does signal confidence. Okay. It also lowers defenses. It makes interactions memorable. If she remembers a funny time that makes her giggle, right? Like, let's say later on after a first date or something like that, and you're doing the whole, like we talked about last night. If you guys watched the sponsored video from yesterday, I talked about how you let her wait, all the next day before you reach out and let her know you had a good time. Okay. All that creates healthy emotional anticipation and tension, which creates attraction. It gets her thinking about you. Okay. But as she's thinking about you and she remembers how funny you are and this funny joke that you said, or this funny little thing that happened between the two of you, and she was, made you guys belly laugh or whatever, that kind of stuff sticks in her mind. And it's a pleasurable, memorable, positive experience with you that just boosts her attraction more. She can't wait to get more of that. Okay. She starts getting addicted to you. Okay. That kind of stuff's really great. It also, like I said before, signals confidence enough. It signals that you're confident enough that you're not taking yourself or life too seriously. And women love that. They love that. When you're a serious guy and you're always focused on problems and problem solving, and you're so goddamn serious all the time, you just really come across as uptight, and it just makes women sort of like feed off your energy. It makes them feel insecure. They're like, oh my God, this guy's so uptight or whatever. It doesn't make them feel safe and secure. Okay. But if you act like, nothing bothers you, the world doesn't matter. Like I got it handled, right? Like you don't take anything so seriously, and that you just effortlessly handle things. It signals confidence. And think about this. Okay. Let's say you're in a career. Let's say you're like the world's best fucking welder. All right. I'm just throwing this out there. You're the world's best welder. You've done it all. You've seen it all. When this major, welding problem happens, I'm not a welder. I don't know what kind of welding problems you guys run into, but everyone's freaking out about it. Like, oh my God, this needs to be fixed. And you've fixed thousands of these before. It's no big deal to you. You might even playfully joke about it. You're like, oh yeah, I've seen this a million times, right? That creates confidence in people. When you make big deals into nothing, right? That makes people feel more relaxed. Like, oh, it's not a big deal to you. Like oh yeah, no problem. I got this. Yeah, no problem. Right. That kind of relaxed confidence, women dig that. Okay. Because women are security seeking creatures that respond to strength. So if you turn everything into a joke and everything's playful and lighthearted, and you're not taking anything seriously, she actually finds that confidence very attractive, because she's like, man, this guy nothing shakes this guy. Nothing rattles this guy. Everything's funny to this guy, and he effortlessly handles life. That draws women in. Okay. Guys, I want to hear from you real quick. Okay. Do you remember a time, any of you guys that are listening live right now, there's a lot of people watching right now, but there's not a lot of people commenting right now. Okay. So in the chat, if you're watching live right now, I want to hear from you. Do you remember a time when you used humor on a date and a woman responded really well to it? Let me know in the chat what it was that you said. Like, what happened with that? Like, what did you say to her that made her really like laugh, and she was just like all over you after that point? Okay. Let me know in the chat. And if you're watching the replay, drop a comment below, would you? There was a time, I'll tell you a story that I distinctly remember, because this was in my relatively early spinning plates phase. I talked about it. I talked about this gal on, I think, what, my second or third podcast episode ever. It was my Tale of Two Train Wrecks episode. And this particular chick was just an emotional mess, right? She was just an emotional mess. She had no business being out there dating. She actually ended up crying on the date at one point. But near the end of the date, when I went to go ask for the check, she goes, "Oh, let me pay," right? And she puts her debit card on the table and she slid it forward. And I go, "No, I got it." Okay. Because I personally believe that if you're asking people out on a date, like, you pay for at least the first 2 dates, but keep those initial dates low investment. Okay. Drinks only. It's over after 1 or 2 drinks. It's not going to break the bank. And so she goes to slide the card over and she goes, "No, please let me pay." And I go, "No, I got it." And I slid it back. And she goes, "No, I insist." And she slid it forward again. I go, "No, really, I got it." Right. And I slid it back forward. And she goes, No, really. And she pushes it forward one time. So I put my finger on her card and I just flinged it off the table. And I go, "Waitress." And I held up my card like this. The waitress came, got my thing. That chick thought that was so funny. And she, that I just slid it off the table like a total jerk, but I did it in a very playful way. She was way into that. She really loved that I did that to her. Okay. Stuff like that, right? Being humorous and playful. Chicks like that sort of thing. And I mixed a lot of that. That's humor, that's teasing, all this kind of stuff, right? Women like that sort of thing. Tell me something that you've done here. I'll get to you guys here in a minute, give you guys a chance to do that. Another way to introduce play and be more playful on dates and your interactions with women is just really exude a relaxed energy. Okay. Play is impossible if you're uptight. Okay. If you're uptight, you're serious, you can't be playful. And if you try to be playful, it's going to come across as robotic and it's just not going to hit the same. Okay. So stay calm, stay relaxed. Even when she tests you, especially when she tests you, it signals strength and fun. This is why agree and amplify is so powerful. Okay. I didn't quite realize how powerful agree and amplify really is until I started coaching dead bedroom clients. Okay. Guys who have been married for years often aren't that fun and playful anymore. They're very uptight. They're dealing with life now. They're dealing with kids. They're dealing with careers. They're dealing with bills and all this kind of stuff. And they've gotten to such a place of comfortability with their wives that they're not fun and playful anymore. And that's a part of the big reason why they're in a dead bedroom, right? They've let go of any semblance of game and they've just become, the guy that pays the bills. Okay. So the guys that I coached, the ones that were able to really nail down agree and amplify. And what is agree and amplify? Agree and amplify is one method of handling women's shit tests. And women want to test you to see if this facade that you're putting on is real or not. And that's a part of the reason why the pickup artists couldn't keep women around, because as soon as these chicks started testing these guys, if they had spent any length of time with these guys would fall back in old beta programming and really not show up well. Okay. They were able to handle those shit tests during the pickup phase, but in long term, they couldn't do it. Okay. But you have to be able to do this sort of stuff all the time. Right. So shit testing is the way women test men. And one of the best ways of doing it is agree and amplify. So let's say a chick makes fun of me because I'm bald. Okay. She's like, "Wow, I didn't know you were going to be, you were so bald," or whatever, you're pretty confident for a bald guy or whatever. Okay. Any kind of jab about my baldness would be a shit test. Okay. And so I could get mad about that. right? One way to handle it is with indifference and be like, oh, you don't like bald people, right? But that's not as attractive as a guy who playfully plays it off, right? Like, yeah, I'm bald, but it makes me more aerodynamic. You know what I mean? Like that signals confidence to women when you can playfully take what they say and joke, right? So I'm agreeing with her and then amplifying. It makes me more aerodynamic. That's agree and amplify. Well, the dead bedroom guys, when I would show them this, because what they were doing at this point, because they were so sick of their wife's shit, right, is when she would throw a barb or a jab at them, they would take it personally and then blow up at her and get mad. That's how you fail a test like that. And so I'd say, no. Agree with them and then amplify it. Take it to an absurd level and just make it a big joke, okay? The guys that were quick-witted enough to do that were out of a dead bedroom within 2 weeks of the program. Okay, some of these guys haven't had sex with their wives in months. 2 weeks. They turned it around because they stopped being so fucking serious and started being fun and playful. Okay, so that playfulness really does exude a relaxed energy that makes women feel more safe and secure. It makes them feel more playful. It makes them feel more connected to you when you two have these inner jokes amongst each other. Okay, you're creating this reality where only two of you exist for her. That's where she wants to be. Feels over reels, guys. When you're out dating, a great way to stay less serious and more playful is to spin plates. Okay. Date multiple women. Okay. And I can't stress this enough. And a lot of guys are like, I'm having too hard of a time getting one woman. How am I going to spin plates and get multiple women? I break that down. How to do that in this book. All right. I talk about it in my dating course. There's ways where you're just starting out where you can signal to the women that you're with that you might be dating multiple women. Okay. And when you do that, the thing is, when you do date multiple women, pre-selection kicks in. A woman likes guys who other women like. So if she in her mind thinks that you're dating multiple women, that you have multiple options, that actually makes you more attractive to her, because it's a mental shortcut for women. They're trying to get to know you to see if you're a good guy or not. And if other women like you, to her, like her subconscious brain, oh, well, he must be a good guy then if other women like him. Okay. So this is how pre-selection works. So when you're spinning more plates, a part of that, women can sort of sense this sort of thing because you're not needy, right? You don't need her validation. You don't need to text her all the time. You're a busy guy. You see lots of girls, right? So all these types of things signal to her that you might have other options, just because of the way you show up, right? You're more playful. You're more relaxed. When you can communicate well with women and you're funny and you're joking and you do the agree and amplify and you do all this kind of stuff, that tells her that you're good with women. Okay. If you're really good with her, she's going to naturally assume you must be good with other women too. Okay. There's all these little things that women just pick up subtext really well. Okay. So if you act this way all the time with all women, you will eventually get more dates. You will eventually start spinning plates, and then you actually will be dating multiple women. Okay. But you have to start somewhere, and that's how you start. You start sort of acting as if you already have them. Okay. But all that kind of stuff, it keeps things fun, playful, non-needy, removes pressure from any single interaction. Because if you're coming across as needy, validation seeking, you're really pushing for something to happen because you have that attachment to outcome, that creates a lot of pressure on women, and they don't handle it well, right? They're like, this guy's really putting a lot of pressure on me. This removes all the pressure because, hey, you're not available? Cool. All right, I'm going to go see Susan tomorrow. You don't have to tell her that, but if you act like you don't really care that she's not available, that signals to her, like, why doesn't he care? Oh, he must be seeing other women, right? This is how women think. By the way, guys, if you're getting any value out of these episodes, do consider sending a super chat. That helps support the show, probably more than anything else. And speaking of chats, there's guys here they're now sounding off here. Okay. Phil Bradley says, hoorah. What's up, Double Dog? Nurse Chick's in the house. She says, happy hump day, gentlemen. Nurse Chick always gets this.
So naughty.
Yes.
I'm going to come.
And I will. You don't worry about that. Kamal says, this is a great topic, something we need to remind ourselves regularly. Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. Oh, Mr. Justin's in the house. You look like the kind of girl that enjoys being tied up. Guys, do follow Mr. Justin. He's got really good content, especially if you really want to get into the whole DS side of relationships. He really teaches guys how to manage DS type relationships with women. It's really cool, fascinating guy. Kamal says, I told let's see here. She seemed a bit nervous and should relax. I don't bite with a wink. She totally opened up thereafter. Yeah, there you go. Just being playful, right? But it's also kind of a neg too, isn't it? Right? Hey, you look nervous. Relax a little bit, right? All right. Anybody else? Anyone else have a situation where you said something really funny and the chick just really dug it? Let me know. Let me know in the chat there. I've mentioned this before, right? But there's confidence in play. Okay, play by itself, being playful with women, being fun, being that fun guy kind of guy. And I'm not saying being a dancing monkey, okay, but being quick-witted and being able to make jokes on the fly and stuff like that. It's a display of confidence. Okay, think about how a nervous guy acts. Right, just in your mind, picture a guy who's acting very nervous. Okay, he's stammering. He's stuttering. He's sort of fidgeting. Maybe he's got his arms crossed like this. He puts off a very non-confident vibe. Okay, maybe he's got the jitters. Okay, so think about that guy versus a guy who isn't worried about anything, is just having fun. Okay, what comes across as more confidence, right? The guy who's stammering and jittering, or the guy who's just like, hey, what's going on, right? Like, women pick up on this kind of stuff through body language. Okay, body language, your tone, how you're articulating yourself. Okay, if you're breathing heavy, okay, that comes across as nervous, and that nervousness is the opposite of confidence, and confidence is what women really find attractive. One of the things I learned from Dr. Robert Glover is that women get the same buzz from a confident guy as men get from a great pair of tits. Okay, that women are really naturally drawn to confidence in a guy. Okay, this is why if you're challenged in the looks department, you're going to do much better doing cold approach, because in person you can show all of your faculties. Okay, you can show your body language, your sense of humor, your facial expressions, your tone really comes across. It's really hard to do that sort of thing texting on a dating app. Okay, now a lot of dating apps now, they have voice messages. I think some of them even have video messages now. That's sort of the next best thing. But women really do respond to confidence, and that's one of the reasons why cold approach was more effective for looks challenged guys, right? Create shared adventures is another way that you can be more playful with girls. Okay, so like I said before, I'm going to keep repeating this, and sometimes I repeat things because repetition is the mother of skill, and I really want to hammer some of this stuff home. Okay, but creating that separate reality, fun activities, spontaneity, these shared experiences make her feel like she's a part of something special. Okay, just the two of you in the world is how she wants to feel. So if you do these spontaneous little fun things, she's going to be like, oh, right? She's like really excited about it. I did a whole episode on this, right? I did a whole episode for married guys that are in long-term relationships. And it was why you should bang your girl in the back of your truck. Okay. Now, this is one of the things that I do with Nurse Chick. I don't do it all the time, because if you do it all the time, it becomes less impactful. Okay. But every once in a while, like I'll take Nurse Chick out on a date, and then I'll just start driving down some back road. But in my head, I've got a plan, right? I'm like, I know a secluded place where I can take her and bang her in the back of my truck. And I just start going down a dirt road. And she's like, where are you going? Where are you going, babe? And I'm like, that's for me to know, and you find out. Right. And she's like, ooh, like this is fun. And then we have road car sex or something. But it's spontaneous. It's not planned. It creates heat, that healthy emotional anticipation and tension. That kind of stuff keeps women drawn in, and they love it. They love that kind of playful adventure type stuff that allows them to feel like they're living in this love story, right? And guys, by the way, follow me on social media, would you? Links are in the description for that. I'm on all the good platforms. Teasing. Okay, I mentioned teasing already, but teasing is a part of 3 T's. The 3 T's that I teach. I learned this from Dr. Robert Glover. Okay, but tease, touch, and tell are your 3 T's, and these are your best tools for creating that heat, that healthy emotional anticipation and tension. Okay, it's a playful sort of push pull. Okay, telling her, you're trouble. I could tell these sort of things, right? Like, although a lot of guys, they open with boring shit like that on dating apps, like, oh, you're trouble. You look like trouble. Like, everyone's saying that kind of stuff. Okay, so you got to try. It's best to come up with this stuff in the moment. One way I like to, nurse chick's always doing little things that allow me to sort of playfully jab at her. It's just fun. It's just fun to do. And she loves it. She laughs about it. She doesn't take it too seriously. She doesn't get all butthurt by it, right? But I also say it in a very playful, joking manner, and so she knows that I'm not making fun of her in a mean-spirited way, right? She knows that it's fun and playful, okay? But doing that sort of thing makes her laugh. She sees you as more confident and not supplicating to her. That's a big thing, okay? Because women's hypergamous nature needs to see you as above her in some way. Okay. And she needs to see you as above her in some way, because women don't date down. Okay. They rarely date sideways. They don't seek their equal. They're looking for a guy that's above them in some way. And a lot of guys think it's about money. All right. It's not just about money. All right. There's someone in the Wolfpack sent me a video yesterday of Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey and his daughter. Dave Ramsey, I guess, is co-hosting his show with his daughter now, which is fine. Oh, what is going on with my beard right here? Anyway, Dave Ramsey had a caller, and this lady who called in was a surgeon, and she was making $500,000 a year as a surgeon, but her boyfriend was an actor, and he didn't make shit, right? And he made like 20 grand a year, maybe. Most guys would be like, how's that even possible? Don't women only care about money? No. No. And it's not necessarily money that women are attracted to. It's competence. Okay. It's competence. It's the ability to acquire money. Okay. But what made this guy unattractive wasn't the fact that he wasn't making as much as her. It was the fact that he had no ambition to really do anything else to try to make more money. Okay. It's that ambition that's attractive to women, not necessarily the money itself. And because this guy completely lacked ambition, she was really questioning the relationship. And that's why she was calling Dave Ramsey. Right. And then Dave Ramsey was, and his daughter first off started off like, do you find that attractive? Right. Because hypergamy is always at play. but the way they articulated it was, just like I said, it wasn't that he didn't make as much as her. It was that he had no ambition that made him less attractive. Okay. So, So what was I talking about? I was talking about hypergamy, right? So women have to see you as above them in some way. You can have a girl that actually makes more money than you, but in the relationship, if you set the tone and lead and you make all the decisions and you're assertive and you're a go-getter and you playfully tease her, it tells her like, you don't care about how much money she's making. It makes never mind. You're, right. That kind of stuff allows her to see you as above her in some way. So in this modern world where often women are making more money than a lot of men, that's how you have to be, right? You have to, it's up here. It's a part of your mental frame and your game that will overcome the money that the money difference, right? Okay. So teasing, that's a part of the 3 T's that signals that sort of thing. That's another reason why it's attractive. Sexual escalation through play is very important, right? So playful touches, jokingly pulling her closer. That's basically Kino escalation, right? But you're doing it in a fun, playful way where she wants to participate. She wants to be a part of this because it's fun. Okay. That sort of thing builds tension without being manipulative. Like, think about how James Bond often does things. And I'm not talking about Sean Connery's James Bond, where he just sort of like forced himself on women, but think about some of the funny ways that Roger Moore would do it, right? Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan, they were both very playful and fun when it came to seducing women, right? Look at the movie Goldeneye. The movie Goldeneye, where Famke Janssen's character, on a top, she attacks him in the was it the sauna or the bathroom or something like that, or the changing room, where he at the hotel where he's swimming, and she comes up and she starts like, attacking him and biting his lip and stuff. And when she comes up and starts making out with him, he's like, that's close enough. All right. And then when he like flips her down, he hits this guy with a bucket, flips her down and points his gun at her. He goes, no more foreplay, right? That's fun. That's be a playful, fun James Bond kind of guy. Okay. That's very charming to women. And that gets that sexual escalation going. By the way, I've had this up the whole time, guys. Grab this free ebook, especially if you're a guy who's been recently broken up with and you're finding dating very challenging. So you're having this inkling of maybe I should just fix things with my ex, right? And so you're trying to get your ex back. Grab this. All right. It will show you how to get her back. It's a proven five-stage process of how to reattract your ex, but it also explains why that's a terrible fucking idea. Okay. You can grab that. It's the first link in the description, or if you're listening on audio, you can go to ebook.getoveryourx.us. Ego preserving denial. Okay. So what is this? Oh gosh, my list here is incomplete. I accidentally messed this. Oh, I got this one here. Okay. No, here we go. Don't overinvest too soon is the next one here. Don't overinvest too soon. When you are overinvesting, this was my biggest problem after the divorce and then after Red Pill Chick. This was my biggest problem. Okay. And a lot of you guys are doing this because you hate the dating circuit, right? You just got out of a relationship. And so a lot of you guys can't be alone. You're looking for your next relationship. All right. You're looking for your next girlfriend and you're immediately going in on the first girl that's somewhat nice to you. I saw a comment on Rudy A, Root Advice, his Facebook. He put out a post saying, don't date women who are separated, right? Don't date someone who's separated because it turns out they're still married. Okay. I'm not going to get into all morals and stuff because he's a very moral guy. He likes to beat his morals on you, right? Like, okay, I'm not going to do that. When I was separated, like the marriage was over, like I was out dating, like, fuck that. Okay. I totally disagree with that, but he was saying that. And this lady in the comments said, my ex-husband got engaged while he was separated, right? Before the divorce was finalized, he was already engaged with another chick. And I've seen that happen because some people, they don't learn their lesson the first time. They think, oh, the problem's her. Let me just get another girl. And then they never actually do any of the work on themselves. And then, divorce number 2 and 3 and 4. It's like, look at Ric Flair. He got married like 5 times or something stupid. It's like, dude, some people just never learn. They just never fucking learn. That is, getting the government involved is a bad idea. But that was me, right? I wasn't trying to get married, but I was trying to like make every girl that I talked to my girlfriend. I was trying to lock every girl down because I hated dating so much. I didn't want to be out there longer than I had to. And so I was trying to push for a relationship with every chick I was. So I was over-investing too soon. Okay. And that pushes women away. So I'll tell you what, if you're the guy out there that can't keep a chick around more than 2 or 3 dates, this is why. You're over-investing too soon. You're making every girl your girlfriend or your wife out the fucking gate. It puts too much pressure on chicks. You're not using hypergamy to your advantage because women's hypergamous nature requires them to lock you down. It's Breitfeld's law. Okay. She needs to feel like she's got you locked down, and you trying to get yourself locked down. It's like what Puck said in the book of Puck. It's like being a wild bird that flies into a cage. It's unnatural. It makes people go, what the fuck is going on here? That was when you're trying to get yourself locked down so quick. Women instinctively are like, this is weird. Why is he doing this? He's needy, right? And that's unattractive behavior. Okay. So don't overinvest too soon. And that playfulness absolutely dies when you invest too heavy, too early. Okay. You want to keep things very light and balanced, very just cash for the first couple of weeks. Okay. If a chick is trying to lock you down before the 8th, the 7th or 8th date, it's way too soon. She's too fucking needy. Okay. But women who really like you will try to push for exclusivity by the 7th or 8th date on average. All right. So if she's doing that too soon, it's a major red flag. If you're doing that kind of thing too soon, well, one, you should never do that. Never be the guy that's trying to lock women down. Let them try to lock you down. Okay. You'll do much better. But if you're doing that kind of stuff too soon, it's just unattractive behavior. Okay. So you're not being playful. You're not being fun. You're not being relaxed. You're not just letting this love story unfold naturally as women expect it to. Okay. Another way is to be the prize, right? Women respond when you carry yourself like you're the prize. Like, hey, you're lucky to hang out with me. You're lucky to be with me. This is why I really want you guys to get in the mindset of being the buyer, not the seller when you're going out dating. Okay. You treat first dates like a chemistry test. Do you even like her or not? You're not trying to make her like you. You're seeing if she likes or if you like her or not. Okay. If you are in that mindset of being the guy who's trying to just see if you like her or not, you're going to be more relaxed. You're going to have more relaxed, wide open body language because you don't give a shit, right? She needs to prove herself to you, man, not the other way around. When you do that, you're going to be more relaxed. You're going to have more fun with it. You're going to say things because you don't give a shit. And women are actually going to find that authenticity more attractive, okay? A playful man who enjoys himself just radiates that confident energy. All right. So you want to be that guy. And a lot of you guys have a hard time with this. So I want you to think about this. Okay. Think of a job interview. Who do you think is more nervous at a job interview? The guy being interviewed or the guy doing the interviewing? Right? You want to be the guy doing the interviewing. This is why you let her do 80% of the talking and you just ask clarifying questions. Right? And if she starts snowballing you with a bunch of questions, you need to flip that shit around. When I was dating Marine Corps chick, if you go back to the very first year of the podcast, there was a couple episodes with Marine Corps chick. So I was dating that girl. And the first date we had, she just started snowballing me with questions, right? Like we sat down and she starts snowballing me with questions and I just relaxed and playfully said, whoa. That's way too much. Let me ask you a question. And that's how I flipped it around on her. And then I started being the guy asking questions, right? Who's ever asking questions is the one who's controlling the conversation. You want to be that guy. All right. All right. Guys, I only have one question for you. Who wants to run with the wolves?
Bear club? Not anymore.
Midlife drift, feeling alone. You don't need hacks, blogs, lies. You need men with fire in their eyes. We rebuild from the ground up. No excuses, no soft stuff. Telegram lit, 24/7. Brothers locked in, steel, not ever. Step inside the pack. We don't fall, we attack. Truth, fire, presence, we bring it back. Masculine pride, no time to slack. Drop your past, claim your track. No therapy talk, no playing small. We
Ooh, can I get a too sweet for that one? All right. Storytelling and role play is another way to be more playful when you're around women, right? Use fun scenarios. Okay. Like imagine we're on a secret mission. That sort of thing creates a playful world, and which is the essence of seduction, right? Like I keep harping on, you want to create this imaginary world where it's just the two of you, and it's you and her against the world, right? So if you create these fun little playful scenarios where, okay, we're secret agents and we're on a mission, that sort of thing is fun and playful. I did this with Nurse Chick. Nurse Chick and we went to a gala it was last year, right, babe? I don't know if she's still watching live right now. She usually shows up at the beginning and then she's got work to do. And then she tunes in later in her car on Spotify or something like that. But I think it was last year. We went to a gala. So she works for a hospice outfit, and the hospice outfit, to raise money every year, they put on this big fancy gala. They invite all the medical offices and all the doctors in town, and all the, the big wig doctors and lawyers come and donate tons of money. And that's how they raise a lot of their funds. And Nurse Chick is always trying to dress super nice, right? She's got in her closet, she must have 10 ball gowns. Okay. The thing is that we live in the cow pasture. We live in the middle of nowhere, and there's no place really to dress up fancy all the time. And every once in a while she'll put on this like just way too of a fancy dress when we go out, and I'll just wear, really nice blue jeans, a sport coat, and like a button-up shirt, and that like and my best cowboy boots, right? Like that's how I dress up, because that's fancy for out here. Okay, that's fancy Western Colorado attire. And then even then, when we go to places that would normally in a big city be a place where you dress up like that, no one's dressing that way. Everyone's dressing in flip-flops and shorts no matter where you go. Or if it's in the wintertime, they're wearing like dirty Wranglers and whatever. Okay, it's just not the vibe out here. But when the hospitals, there's two big hospitals out here, they each put on fancy ass galas every year that are the St. Mary's Hospital gala is always black tie, right? You have to have a tuxedo for that one. Well, the one that we went to for hospice, there was a lot of people in tuxedos for that one too, and I just wore my normal suit, and she wore this really fancy ball gown. And I told her, I go, if you would have told me it was black tie, I would have went out and rented a tux. You know what I mean? Like I'm dressed too far down, and you're dressed perfectly in your ball gown. Well, anyway, she has all these dresses, but she's never, ever been to a fancy event like that. Okay. She's never been to one. And so we get there, and she's like a deer in the headlights, and she's like, oh my God, how do I act? Like all these people are wearing tuxedos and ball gowns, and I'm not the only one doing that in this time. And oh my God, like, how do I act? Right. And she couldn't human. Like, she just mentally shut down. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. Right. And I've been to galas before, I've been to like, proms and all this kind of stuff in high school, like I've been to fancy things. Like, so I think it's fun. And I'm a big James Bond fan. And so I always think of being James Bond at events like that. Well, she has never experienced this before. And so when we get there, I was like, I could really just tell she was super nervous. And I was like, hey, you feeling nervous right now? And she's like, yeah, I don't know who to talk to. I don't know anybody and all this kind of stuff. And I go, pretend that we're secret agents and we're on a mission here. And our goal is to find the newspaper executive that's trying to start a war between England and China. And our goal is to find him, get a conversation going with him, and build up a rapport with him so that we can get more information. That's our mission. Do you understand your mission? And she just immediately relaxed, because I created this playful scenario that was complete bullshit in the moment. And if you guys have ever seen Tomorrow Never Dies, James Bond, that was the plot, right? But that's what I did to her. I was like, let's pretend that we're secret agents, and And this is our mission. We need to blend in, pretend that we're supposed to be here, right? So we went dancing. We tried the food. We walked around the silent auction as if we were going to bid on stuff, although we didn't bid on jack shit. But those types of fun scenarios are fun and playful. It makes her feel like it's just two of you versus the world. That's a big part of seduction. Okay. That creates that connection that makes her feel something, right? Smiling and eye contact. That's really big too. Okay. You want to be charming, right? And a big thing too that I talk about a lot is using the left eye trick. Okay. When you look into a woman's left eye, all right, the idea behind it is that the left eye is connected to the right part of the brain. The right part of the brain is supposed to be the emotional side of the brain. That's where she's really feeling the strong emotions of love and connection. That's also where her inhibition is. So if she's, her sexual thoughts come from that part of the brain, allegedly. And so when you make eye contact and you're fun and you're doing playful jokes and you're smiling and laughing and you're making that eye contact with her left eye, she feels this tremendous connection to you, this emotional connection to you, and she won't even know why. Okay. It's like a magic trick. Don't take my word for it. Test it out yourself. Okay. And another thing, when you're making that left eye contact, all right, so really just focusing on the left eye, when you're doing that, think really like, be real playful about it, but think really highly sexual thoughts. Think of like how you're just going to ravage her body and all this kind of stuff. That she can feel that. She can feel that energy coming from you. And that's going to give her the vajingles. It's just a really powerful thing. It's just like you're mesmerizing chicks. I'm telling you, don't take my word for it. Test it out yourself. Okay. The first time I ever heard about this was I was reading, I think it was David Data's book, The Way of the Superior Man, but he has an accompanying workbook that goes with it. And he was talking about doing this technique with a girl. And it was one of those things where you sort of read it and dismiss it and don't even think about it. Right. And then I had a guy on in the early days of the podcast named MJ Durkin. MJ Durkin was in the early days of the podcast. He comes on and he asks me about it during the interview. He goes, what eye should you be looking at? And I was like, I believe it's the left eye, right? And he goes, yeah, the left eye. And he explains this. And after he said it, I decided to start testing it out. Okay. All the stuff that I talk about, don't take my word for it. You treat dating like a science experiment. Go test this stuff out. This thing I tested out and it was a fucking game changer, dude. I'm telling you, it was an absolute game changer. Anytime I tell guys to do it and they actually go test it out, I always have them come back going, dude, that left eye trick is nuts, man. Right? It is. It is. It really is. There's something to it where it just creates this deep connection where she's just drawn to you. Okay. So use the left eye trick. And just eye contact in general just really signals more confidence. So if you're making that eye contact while being playful and joking, it just really signals comfort and fun for her, but comfort in a good way and in an attractive way. Okay. Oh, this J-Rud. Hey, J-Rud, what the fuck, dude? Where have you been, man? It's like you fell off the planet. I haven't seen you around in forever. What's going on, brother? He says the left eye trick is nuts indeed. Yes. Good seeing you, man. I hope you're doing good. How's the music going, man? We need to catch up after this. If you guys don't know, back in the early days of the podcast, my early days of TikTok, J-Rud, a guy named Chuck, and Black Spider Guy Advice. I don't know if you guys follow BSG. He's got a huge following now. We were all on a panel show called the Mantastic Four together. That was good times. Good times. Guys, by the way, I talked about a lot about this kind of stuff, like first date type stuff yesterday during my sponsored video segment. Every Tuesday, I've been putting out sponsored videos. If you want to sponsor a video, if you have a question for me, you want me to dedicate an entire video on a topic, this is how you do that. Okay. Go to video.comeonmanpod.com. And what will happen is you sign up for it. You'll get an email from me. Just reply to that email with your story and the questions that you have. And then I'll make your email. You'll be completely anonymous. I'll make that email into a dedicated video just for you. Okay. Go to video.comeonmanpod.com for that one. All right. Agree and amplify is another way to do this. And I mentioned it before. Okay. What is agree and amplify? It's where you agree with something that she says, and then you take it up to an absurd level and make a big joke about it. This is one of the ways you handle shit tests, right? So instead of getting defensive, you playfully exaggerate whatever it is she says, right? So if she calls you cocky, say, yeah, but I'm also devastatingly handsome, right? It keeps things fun. One of the things that I would do as a sort of a playful way of handling shit tests is I would do tease, touch, and tell a lot, especially when I was out dating. And one of the ways I would do the tell, which is where you tell a girl what to do, is when it came to setting up the date. Okay. I would ask a girl, hey, when are you free to get together? She would say Thursday night. I'd say, great. Meet me at the Feisty Pint Thursday night, 7 p.m. Okay. I'm not asking her out. I'm telling her to meet me somewhere. And 9 times out of 10, chicks would be like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds great. Right. The 1 time out of 10, you would get a chick that would go, geez, you're really bossy. Right. Which is a shit test. A lot of guys might get really offended by that. And so the way I would sort of agree and amplify, I would say, yeah, but you like it. Right. Like, yeah, but you like it. And 99% of those chicks would be like, yeah, you're right. I'll see you there at 7. Right. Like that you're just playfully handling her shit test. You're not taking her so seriously. They fucking love that shit. Right. Agree and amplify. You have to get real quick-witted if you're going to use that effectively. And a lot of guys have a hard time coming up with funny stuff on the fly. Right? Those guys struggle. They're too fucking serious. Okay. 1, stop being so serious. And then 2, practice word association. Okay. You can do this in private. You can do this like in the morning while you're brushing your teeth or something like that, but just throw a word out there. And then the next word that comes to mind with that, say that word, just blurt it out. Okay. And then just rapid fire stuff as fast as you can. So like say, like you're brushing teeth, you say toothpaste, mint, Colgate, right? Just start thinking of words that come to your mind with these words. This is free association, and it develops your a mental capacity to think of things on the fly, really funny things. Okay. That's what I'd recommend, because that is the number one way to turn a shit test into playful flirting and seduction. All right. Escalate slowly is a good way to playfully seduce women. Okay. Because we're not just talking about being playful. We're talking about how to effectively seduce women today. Right. This is a thing I learned from Corey Wayne. He calls it 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Okay. But that 2 steps forward, 1 step back creates heat, healthy emotional anticipation and tension. And when you go in and you touch her, okay, this is kino escalation. Kino is short for kinesthetic. Kinesthetic is a fancy word for touching. Okay. So if you go in and kiss her on the neck and then pull back a little bit, right? When you're walking through a restaurant, put your hand on her lower back and sort of lead her, through the restaurant or something like that, right? Pull out her chair for her and then grab her hand or whatever, whatever, like any kind of excuse to touch her and then pull back a little bit, right? Going for a kiss, pull back a little bit. Do that slowly throughout your entire interaction with a girl. Now, you might not be able to do this on a first date, but I like to treat first dates like chemistry tests anyway. Second dates, I like to give women excuses to do this sort of thing. And if you go on a first date and things are going really well, have a second venue in mind so that you can give her a 2 dates in 1 experience, okay? Because women will sleep with you by the second or third date on average. So there's a mental shortcut you can do where if you take a girl to a second venue, mentally, she feels like she's been on a second date with you already, right? So on the first date, just meet up for drinks. If things are going really well, have another venue down the road, maybe a couple blocks down where they have pool tables or something, and then play distraction pool, okay? Distraction pool allows her, it's giving her permission to touch you in different ways. Okay. So what you do is you say, okay, whenever you take a shot, I can do whatever I want to distract you from your shot, and you get to distract me. Okay. And this is fun and playful. But what you'll find is women, they know that their sexuality is their primary agency, right? So what will they do? They'll come up and they'll blow in your ear, or they'll grab your butt. Like you're giving her an excuse to touch you, but you also get to touch her in different ways. Okay. And I'm not talking sexually, but you get to, maybe grab her earlobe or something like that. And women, like when you touch their ears, it's very sensitive. It's sort of an erogenous zone, right? So that kind of stuff creates that sexual tension throughout the night. So by the end of the night, when you suggest going back to your place to go and check on your dog or something, right? Like, women need plausible deniability. She's like, oh yeah, I'll go with you, right? Oh, I don't know what happened. We went to go check on his dog and one thing led to another, right? Like, that's how women need that plausible deniability so that they don't feel like they're being slooty sleuts. But by this time, she's so sexually attracted to you that she wants to go back to your room with you. Okay. And if she doesn't on that first, interaction, she will by the second or third date. Okay. It's a done deal. Okay. Usually by the second date, it's done deal by this point because you've already given her that 2 dates experience on the first date. So the second date's a much easier close, right? A lot of times you can just invite chicks back to your house. That was the beauty of COVID because nothing was open, right? So first dates for me, I would take a chick to the park and we'd smuggle some wine. And then on a second date, since nothing was open, I'm like, why don't you come over to my house? I'll cook you dinner. And I got a bottle of wine here. And so I was getting tons of yeses for chicks coming back to my place on the second date. It was awesome, right? COVID was fucking rad. A lot of you pussies out there with your fucking masks on and shit like that couldn't fully appreciate how awesome dating during COVID was. All right. Guys, by the way, if you want help with any of this kind of stuff, I do offer coaching. If you go to call.fixeddeadbedrooms.com or if you go to call.getoveryourx.us, I offer a breakthrough and battle plan session. It's an hour-long session. And if you want to continue working with me through my full program, I actually refund the cost of this. This is really the reason why I even charge for this is just to weed out people who aren't serious. I can't work with guys who aren't serious because if you're not serious, you're just wasting your money and you're wasting my time. So this really makes sure that you're serious and then we can really get some fucking results. Okay. So go to call.fixeddeadbedrooms.com or call.getoveryourx.us. They both take you to the same place. The links are in the description for that as well. Okay. The last one's here and then we'll wrap up. We have future pacing storytelling is a fun way, a very fun way of being playful. And it's a way to really get her in her imagination. And future pacing is actually an NLP technique. Okay. It's an NLP technique, but this is a good one because I mentioned a bad way that we often find ourselves future pacing. And that's where we develop an attachment to an outcome. All right. That hurts us as men. But for her, if you like her and you want this interaction to go further, this is very helpful in the seduction process. Okay. So what you do is you really want to paint a mental picture of her, of a getaway adventure. This is a good way of doing it. There's lots of different scenarios you can do, but this is one. Paint a picture of a getaway adventure. She only has an hour to pack. Ask her where we're going and what we're doing. And you want her to be the one imagining this and picturing this in her mind and explaining this to you. Okay. So this creates this adventure in her mind of you guys going on this vacation. It feels real to her in the moment. Our subconscious brains can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So if she's imagining this future scenario with you, it actually creates this stronger emotional connection, builds that rapport. Cause she's like, to her, in her subconscious mind, she's already been on this vacation with you. She knows you already. She trusts you already enough to even go on this vacation with you. Okay. So if she can picture this in her mind and she's articulating what you guys are doing and you guys are you guys are walking down the beach and you guys are drinking Mai Tais by the pool and all this kind of stuff. And she can picture this in her head with you. That draws her in. Okay. This is a great way to build this emotional rapport and to get that seduction process going. Okay. And like I said, it's NLP, it's neuro-linguistic programming. It's this kind of scenario in her mind is getting it seeped into her subconscious that she's already done this stuff with you. And it builds that trust and rapport. Okay. It's a dirty trick. So use it wisely. Okay. Only use it for good. With what did Ross Jeffries was the king of using NLP for pickup. And he used to say it's like giving giving children a stick of dynamite, right? You got to be responsible with this kind of stuff, okay? Surprise and spontaneity. We sort of talked about this, right? Changing plans, trying new things, all that kind of stuff, just last minute. Mystery dates are phenomenal, okay? If it's a girl that you've been on a date or two with already, the next time you plan a date, don't tell her where you're going. Just tell her what clothes to wear and that you're picking her up at 7. Her trying to figure out where you're going to take her is going to really create that anticipation and tension. She's going to love it. Women love mystery dates. Okay. So that kind of stuff is fun to do. And then when you take her to a fun, exciting place, like she's just super into it. She's super excited. She loves you for it. Okay. This is a really great way of building that connection. And then finally, you know, we've sort of been talking about this all throughout it, but you really want to, when you're dealing with women, not take them so seriously and lead with fun, not logic. Lead with fun, not logic. Okay. There was a guy, God damn, what was it? Yesterday in the comments, it happens like every day in the comments, but there's always guys in the comments that are logically reasoning why women should or shouldn't do X, Y, and Z. And they're really just like, yeah, from a logical perspective, you're right. Okay. But women aren't thinking logically. They're thinking emotionally. All right. And once you understand that with women, that they're emotional beings and they're led through their emotions and they feel the world, they don't, you know, they're not just sort of navigating the world from a logical perspective. They're feeling their way through it, right? Once you understand that with women, now you can use that to your advantage in a very healthy way and have very healthy, loving relationships, right? All right. That's all we got, guys. I really hope you guys got some value out of this episode. Jay Rudd says, what's up, dude? Been well, man. We need to get the band back together. Yeah, at least we need to have a reunion episode, right? Like maybe a once a year, you know, get the band back together. You know, one night only at the I don't know, the Oriental Theater, one night only kind of thing, right? All right, guys, that's all we got for this episode. Tune into the podcast on Friday. We're going to be talking about how the red pill actually can change your perspective on women for the better. Okay. A lot of guys get red pilled and they start hating women. I'm going to talk about how if you use the praxeology the way it's intended, I would say, it actually changes your perspective of women for the better. I know for me, now that I have a better understanding of how women operate, I get less frustrated when they do whammon shit. Okay. A lot of guys, when women act like women, they get so frustrated by it because they're expecting these women to act like men. Okay. They're not men. They're fucking women. It's like getting mad. Like it's like driving a Ford pickup truck, expecting it to fucking corner and go as fast as a Ferrari. All right. It's not made for that. It's made for being a truck that's, you know, hauls shit. All right. So you getting mad at women for not acting more like a man is stupid. All right. So we're going to talk about that more. Rolo said it well, right? Red pill isn't about hating women. It's about educating a man so he won't hate women for what they can never be to him. You know, it's funny. Yesterday, I was looking for this exact quote online and I found an old tweet of Rolo's from 2020. And so I quote retweeted it, you know, out of nowhere yesterday. So if you saw that tweet, it's because I was writing my show notes and I needed that exact quote. And so it's funny, like Rolo also retweeted his own tweet magically yesterday. Didn't retweet my quote retweet, but he retweeted his original one from 2020. Well, that's why Rolo retweeted it. It's because I found it. Oh, hey, we got a super chat. Look at this, guys. Guys, if you find value in these episodes, do consider sending super chats, would you? John Egan with a $5 super chat. You always supply great value. I'm glad you feel that way. Thank you so much, man. And because you are a Wolfpack brother, I'm going to bump you up to the booty shaking video and go completely demonetized. All right, here we go. Super chat, we see you there. Shake it, dance without a care. Send it love from everywhere. Groovy beats we all can share. Your support is so divine. Moving closer to the line. Thank you, you're the
the best. Party on, we never rest.
Bless her heart. You know what I think I'm going to be doing, guys? Because anytime the Wolfpack guys send a super chat like that, or if for people that are not Wolfpack brothers, if you send a $10 super chat, you get the booty shaking video. If you send a $20 super chat, you get the tits video. Because I get demonetized with this, and this is my full-time job. I think what I'm going to be doing is for the replay is I'm going to be cutting those super chat videos out just so that I can stay monetized. But if you guys send me tons of super chats, I can actually keep that stuff in, right? But if you guys aren't sending super chats, then I'm sort of relying on the ad revenue to make a living, because I am a full-time content creator. I'm a full-time author and full-time coach. So this is a part of how I make my living. And so if you guys are sending demonetizing super chat videos, I mean, obviously it's a fun thing to do, but you're only gonna be able to catch those during the live, I think, going forward. Okay. All right. That's all we got. Tune into the podcast on Friday. We will see you guys then. Take care of yourselves.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.